Diddy do it. Diddy. Good morning. Oh, I gotta brush my hair. Good morning. Good morning. Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Oh yeah. Yeah. Too Slim Jim. Get on the screen. Good morning. Oh, this is kind of loose. Tighten it a little bit. Hey everybody, what's up? Fix this a little bit, get adjusted. Get the chat up on the screen. Diddy trial today, this morning. Let me turn this down a little bit. I wanted to catch the opening statements. Let's see. Do I have notifications today or no? This morning. No notifications. Zilch. All right. Let me see what's going on in the courtroom and then we'll get settled. They did start. I'll turn this down a little bit. They did start. Let's see what's going on. Okay. Juror 51 knew 17 of the names appear to have seen making the band. Has a relative with law enforcement issues. Oh. The next strike, he harassed a police officer and didn't report it. He had a sister, or his sister had an issue. This clears the bar with these good reasons. We think they claim to have special knowledge of bipolar issues. So what are they doing? They're going through the jury, striking. We strike 220, we strike 25, we strike 324. Juror 81, we think they claim to have special knowledge of bipolar issues. Okay, well, I thought they were done with the jury stuff. The judge will bring in the jury in a few minutes. Okay. This was a couple minutes ago. All right. So we'll keep an eye. I wonder if there's a way I can get an RSS feed of tweets from a particular profile and put it on the screen. That'd be kind of dope. I should be able to do that. Find a way to do that. No notification, gang. Wanted to check in with you guys this morning. I know, Layla. They should do something like for people can get all the notifications. Like if you hit all notifications, you should get all notifications, not 3 per day or per 24 hours. Sean Diddy Combs live updates. Let's check out some of these live updates. Prosecutors and defense lawyers agreed to a jury of 8 men and 4 women, paving the way for opening shortly. Opening statements. That's what I wanted to come in and cover. Opening statements. Tammy, good morning. Oh, you're going for a funeral? Oh boy. No cameras allowed, yeah. Court's in session. Oh, so they were finalizing the jury selections this morning. Good morning to you, Mr. Combs. There was no other business to attend to. Okay. So we're waiting. I want to catch the opening statements this morning. Let me get the stream running on some other platforms. Maybe it'll help get some notifications out. And maybe I'll do a little Discord thing too. We're going to talk about the fish tank in a minute too. Apparently that's what Katy did. I found the noise. I found the source of the noise. Actually, people caught it last night when I posted the video. I didn't realize. People saw it in the video from yesterday. the dark video that I posted. That shit was looking at me. I didn't even know. Creepy. Creepy. I don't know if Cassie's coming in today. I heard she's testifying. I heard she will take the stand. I don't know if that's today, though. Good question. Swedish mom morning, 4 p.m. over here. How is it over there? How's the weather? It's raining nasty over here this morning. Nasty. I almost didn't make it to school on time with Maddie. There was so much traffic. People in Florida can't drive already, but as soon as it starts raining, oh, forget about it, man. Traffic comes to a standstill. Nobody can drive. It's like kryptonite. All right, so we're going to post. Let's see. Let's get Twitch up and running. Twitch. One way or another, we're going to reach out to some people through the various apps. Streaming platforms. Okay, we're live on Twitch. Bloop. Let's do a Twitter notification. Karen Reed's happening today too. I wonder what has more interest, Karen Reed or Diddy. I mean, two completely different cases, but two completely different cases. Boom. Let's see if we're live on Twitter now. Mm-hmm. Sunny and warm. Nice. Yo, that's what I was. ChatGPT told me it's a katydid. I thought it was a grasshopper. So I'll play it right now, and then we can do it again later when more people join. But I've been having this clicking sound out of the fish tank, as many of you know. And where's the shorts? I posted this last night. You can hear the clicking.
It's back. Look when I get closer.
Diddy.
Maybe because it's dark. It hasn't noticed me yet. Watch when I turn on the light.
So people noticed it right here somewhere. I think it's a 43 or 40 something. Right there. It was looking at me the whole time. Right there. Last night. And ChatGPT is telling me that that's a katydid.
Bros, I found what's been making the noise. I found what's been making this chick has been. Oh my god.
And the reason they told me it's a katydid is because it says katydid has like these really long antennas. And I think it has more of a leaf looking shape type of thing.
Holy shit. That's it. Okay. What is that now? What is that called? Holy shit. How the fuck did that get in here? In my fish tank? Holy shit.
Yo, I was snapping this morning, man. When I first noticed it, I reacted and I yelled before I even turned on the camera. And I think I startled the katydid because even the katydid kind of shook a little bit. I was like, oh, snap. Okay, we're still waiting for some updates. Let's see what they're saying on Twitter. What was this guy saying? I need to bookmark this guy because I always lose his page. Day one. Sean Diddy Combs.
And these are the latest pictures that we have from the court.
His family's arrived at the court too, if you haven't seen this.
Latest pictures that we have from the court. This is Sean Diddy Combs' family, we understand, arriving at the court. They are here to support him. He, of course, denies all of these charges, but they are incredibly serious charges, as we have seen spelled out by Martha in that report. Then this trial is expecting, as you can see, to gather a huge amount of attention, not just from the media, but from the public as well.
Okay. So we're still waiting for these people to start. 1 minute ago. While we wait, okay, we're still waiting. At the live updates. So today's proceedings will begin with the final stage of jury selection, which they just finished. Once the final pool of 12 jurors are selected, Judge Arun Subramanian will deliver instructions and then turn to the proceedings over the lawyers for opening statements. I feel like opening statements is probably going to take a while. Combs faces 5 criminal counts, 1 count of racketeering, conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. And so Diddy is denying the claims. You know, he's saying it's not true. They're chasing money. He's saying they're clout chasers. Not guilty. He says he's innocent. I have a couple of articles we can check out too regarding Diddy. Trump's doing a press conference. I guess I'm assuming they're announcing that drug thing, the drug cost reduction, pharmaceutical. I don't plan to cover the whole trial, by the way. I don't plan to. I think I'm just gonna opening statements. If Cassie testifies, if there's some big witnesses, maybe I'll cover that. The trial is supposed to be 8 to 10 weeks long. And I don't know. I don't know that I'll be able to do that. I think I need flexibility coming in and out, you know. I'm not even sure it'd be worth it. It might be worth just doing some highlights and then covering a bunch of different stories, you know, updating different things, breaking news. That's what I think I might do that. Can't log into Rumble. Facebook. I wonder if this live stream will work if I do a live video. Let's see. Good morning. If you guys could help me out with the like button too, please, since we have no notifications. You just hit the like button, that helps out with the algorithm. Every little bit helps. Let's see if this works. All right, what do we got here? 54. No. Nothing yet. Okay. Let me pull up these articles in the meantime. Freakoffs are at the center of the Diddy party. Oh. Diddy arrives for opening statements. Six of the seven rapper's children, as well as his mother, Janice, arrived in court to support him. The rapper was sporting a different outfit from the one he wore last week after a juror allowed him to use his own clothes for the trial. Potential juror said he recognized comedian Mike Myers, naming a list of individuals provided to the jury pool. Judge sides with prosecutors after defense claims they're axing black jurors. Uh-oh, the judge rejected the defense's claims that the prosecution is getting rid of black people, that there was discrimination. Kanye West's despicable defense of Diddy. Kanye West is in support of Diddy. Kanye West is holding him down, says free Diddy. Kanye West believes that Diddy didn't do it. Believes in his innocence. Stand by him. Imagine they brought in Kanye West as a witness, Diddy, to speak on his behalf. That would be crazy, right? Bring in Kanye Yee. Oh, I hear the Katy making it sound. I wonder if I should try to get that Katy out and bring it back outdoors or just leave him there. I don't know what's the better environment. Probably outdoors is better for him. I don't know. Okay. Jurors are seated. The judge says, "Welcome back. This is the U.S. versus Sean Combs. We will be providing lunch for you in the jury room. We will not release your names to the public." The clerk swears in the jurors. So they're getting started now. Getting started. Good morning, Tricia, Sabrina. Good morning.
You're famous.
Trying to get into my Rumble account.
All right, here we go. Monday.
Oh, they're doing
morning,
updates here?
and things are really getting
Oh,
rolling
that's
here
cool.
in the Diddy trial. We know that the jury selection has concluded today. Both sides exercising their maximum allowed of strikes, meaning that those 12 jurors and the alternates are now officially seated. Opening statements are going to be next. Testimony could begin as early as this afternoon. You might be thinking, okay, they selected the jury. Like, why don't they have the opening statements right away? Well, a couple things kind of have to happen before they actually get to that part. I mean, something as basic as just swearing in the jury. So typically after the jurors are selected, the oath to act fairly and impartially will be read by the judge here. This is federal court. The picture we're looking at here is 500 Pearl Street, so that's Lower Manhattan. So many huge trials have taken place here at this famed federal courthouse down in Lower Manhattan. We're looking right at the front door, security outside. This is one of the cameras that we use for our live shots as we do and do our coverage throughout the rest of the day and really all through the next 2 months while this trial is going on. So anyway, the jury is going to be sworn in a little bit later by the judge. And from this point, they are bound by extremely strict rules. They cannot discuss the case, no independent research, and no consuming media about the trial. I mean, how hard is that if you're a juror?
You got to just black everything out.
You sit on that panel of 12. You are with men and women who you don't know before. You've probably never met them before. Almost surely you've never met them before. You're going to hear so much information. You're going to hear this testimony from both sides. In this particular case, some of this testimony is going to be graphic. And yet when they break for just the regular mid-morning break that they take, the afternoon break that they take, and the lunch break that they take for an hour, you can't talk to the other jurors about anything in the case. No matter what you heard, no matter what a witness said, you cannot sit there and say, oh my God, did you hear what they say?
That shit was crazy.
Do hear you talking about that, they can declare a mistrial. So the judge makes that very clear early on. This has taken a week just to get to this point, just to sort of find this jury. And so here we are. Jury selection is over. The high-stakes trial, Sean Diddy Combs, officially underway. Federal prosecutors say the 55-year-old music mogul used his power to run a criminal enterprise. I mean, anyone who grew up in the 90s, you maybe listened to rap music back in the 1993, 1994 sort of time frame.
Back when it used to be good.
Daddy, Sean Diddy Combs, Notorious B.I.G. sort of set the standard for what rap music would be at the time. Really one of the most instrumental people in taking this music, hip-hop music, the East Coast sound, and sort of incorporating it deeper into pop culture, which, of course, is still in many ways influenced in how we live our day-to-day lives today. And so here we have this man, Sean Diddy Combs, a billionaire, one of the most recognizable media moguls in the world, now facing these incredibly serious charges, charges that include racketeering, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and sex trafficking. At a minimum, if he's found convicted, could spend more than 10 years, 10, 12, 15 years in prison just if he's convicted on one of the trials. If he's convicted on all the charges, theoretically, could spend the rest of his life in prison. He's pleaded not guilty. And again, if convicted, faces a minimum of 15 years and potentially life in prison. So here we have it, things getting underway.
That's wild. So yeah, it's about to get started. I wanted to check out the opening statement, see what's popping with this trial. The judge says questions are not evidence. Only the answers given by the witnesses and the documents are evidence. You can consider circumstantial evidence, like someone walking in with a dripping umbrella can surmise it's raining outside, even if you don't see it. So he's talking to the jury, giving, I guess, instructions. They're going to get started soon with the opening statements, and they're not supposed to talk to each other throughout this trial, I guess, until the very end. They're not supposed to look at anything. I wonder, are they being sequestered? Are they being like, or are they going home every day? Are they being put up in a hotel or something? So a sequestered jury would be where they're isolated from the public. You know, my mother one time told me she had a case where they put her up in a hotel. I was on a case one time for a month long. The baseball player, James Layritz, former baseball player. They didn't sequester us, but back then it was a kind of an interesting big case. That guy had money. Has money.
They summarize the case.
You're not supposed to look up anything.
And they make their appeal directly to the jury, this jury who will have heard so much over the next 2 months. That jury that was just seated this morning, going to be sworn in very soon as we're taking that live look down there in Lower Manhattan. The judge will then give them the jury instructions toward the end of the trial. The weight of those charges really will become clear. If you've ever sat on a jury or ever been a part of a jury, you know, a lot of people, they go down and you get your notice that you got to go serve your jury duty, and you might try to get out of it. But if you end up on a jury, you kind of understand that your decision, even if it's just a smaller case, petty crime or a civil suit, your decision can change someone's life. And certainly in this case, the decision that these 12 men and women will make, not just will affect Diddy, but could affect, you know, an entire industry, could affect dozens of people. Deliberations will happen, and then eventually, of course, the verdict will be reached. So we know that there are a lot of people tuning in. Do we
Sorry
have,
to say a question. Why all the baby oil?
Let's get to a couple people. Does the evidence include baby oil? Certainly when you heard some of the headlines.
It's a legit question, though. It probably will.
Especially when some of the initial arrests happened and that first charges were laid out. The freakoffs, which were those private sex parties where women were alleged to be drugged and coerced, that was certainly part of it. The baby oil, all those other kind of things. Maybe that's a good time to kind of go over what we are expecting from the prosecution. So the prosecution, they will go first today. Key points. Combs ran a criminal enterprise from 2004 to 2024 under the guise of his musical empire. That's what they're going to say. They're going to say for 20 years he ran this enterprise. Alleged crimes, the sex trafficking, the racketeering, the kidnapping, the arson, the bribery. They're going to say that Combs used his fame and network to recruit and exploit women, often underage and vulnerable. So this is what we think the prosecution is going to lay out here. We're talking about the baby oil. And so that's a reference to the freakoffs. And the freakoffs are not my words. Okay, freakoffs are not the media's words. Those words came from the prosecution.
That's what they're called, yeah.
That's what was in the indictment, and that's how they were laid out. And they said that those are those private sex parties where women were drugged, coerced, all kinds of stuff. So what are we actually going to hear? Well, one accuser says she was forced into sex acts while being filmed by Combs. Another woman claims she was held in a hotel suite for days against her will. So we got these allegations of physical violence, including being...
Okay, so they have a breakdown of the jurors. So let's get into that while we wait for them to start. They're saying here, let's see, juror number 2 is a 69-year-old male who works as an actor and a massage therapist. He lives in Manhattan. Okay, so 69-year-old male as an actor and a massage therapist. Interesting. Number 5, a 31-year-old male who works as an investment analyst. He lives in Manhattan. Juror number 25, a 51-year-old male who has a PhD in molecular biology and neuroscience. He lives in Manhattan. Okay, PhD. Okay. Juror number 28, a 30-year-old female working as a deli clerk. She lives with her mom and brother in the Bronx. Okay. Juror number 55, 42-year-old female who is an aide in a nursing home. She lives in Manhattan. And by the way, the question on the screen, do you know if Cassie will take the stand? She's supposed to testify. I don't know when, but she is supposed to. Layla, I didn't think about that. 69 and massage therapist. Oh, Jaguar Wright is out there? Toria says Jaguar Wright is outside the courthouse. She's lit. She's crazy. But she has like a lot of the tea. Jaguar Wright. Isn't somebody suing her? I thought. Jeepers Creepers. Jeepers Creepers. Where'd you get those peepers? Says, I'll never forget the Murdoch trial. But yeah, that was a really fun trial. That was crazy. The Murdoch trial, that dragged too. Oof, that was an interesting trial. The Murdochs. Okay, so we have another person here. So we got the nursing aide, 42 years old, lives in Manhattan. That's juror 55. Juror number 58, a 41-year-old male who works in communications at a correctional facility. She lives in the Bronx. Juror number 75, a 68-year-old male who is retired from working at JP Morgan. He lives in Westchester. Juror number 116, a 68-year-old male who's retired from working at Verizon. He lives in Westchester. I have Verizon, and I like them, right? They've always supposedly have been the top of the line, at least here in South Florida. But honestly, man, they're so overpriced. And I heard that T-Mobile is like really come up, like comparable or even better. And they have cheaper prices. I actually heard that Verizon is losing a lot of customers. At some point, I have to see. At some point, I have to see if maybe I'll switch if they offer me a deal to save some money in my monthly bill. I don't know. But yeah, that's a Verizon worker. And juror number 160. And AT&T sucks. AT&T used to be so amazing back in the day. Like, I remember AT&T was the ish. I had AT&T for a while. And the service is, I feel like Metro PCS is better. And I think Metro is now T-Mobile. What happened to AT&T? They used to be like these they have nothing now. Like, their network is just like whatever. So mediocre, at least in my area. I know it kind of varies depending on what area you're in. I was getting drop calls all the time over here. Okay. So, the Verizon person. Now we have juror number 160, a 43-year-old female who works as a physician assistant. She lives in Westchester. Juror number 184, a 39-year-old male who works as a social worker. He lives in the Bronx. Interesting. Juror number 201, a 67-year-old male who works as a logistics analyst. He lives in Westchester. And juror number 217, a 74-year-old female who works as a treatment coordinator. Okay. And so they're saying the jury makeup is 8 men and 4 women.
I don't want to say forced to testify is not the right word, but they've been subpoenaed to testify. So they are obligated to testify, and they have to come down there. They may not want to, but once you go into the witness stand, once you're in the box and you put your hand on the Bible, you got to swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So that's what will happen there. We also expect that there will be law enforcement officers who will be testifying. So the question, are any other celebrities accused of being involved in Diddy's alleged criminal operation? That's a good question also. We know that there was a civil suit that was filed earlier, and that civil suit was against, named Jay-Z as someone who may have been involved in these freak-off parties. That lawsuit was dismissed, but certainly you get an idea of the level of celebrity who we're talking about here. So when Diddy had some of these parties, let's put the freak-offs to the side that may have happened sort of in the shadows after or whenever. But just the parties that he had, those were, see and be seen kind of events. I mean, those were events where you'd be on page 6 in the Post, or you'd be, in the early days of TMZ. They were parties that people wanted to be at. I mean, let's be honest. Diddy was one of the most influential music producers of all time, certainly of his generation. So he had the power, he had the wherewithal, he had the money, he had the ability to snap his fingers and potentially make you a star. So the parties that he had were attended by all kinds of celebrities. Now, whether or not they were involved in the alleged criminal activity is a different story. But we do know that prosecutors, when the prospective jurors, when they were initially questioned and asked to fill out the questionnaires, they were asked that, what is your familiarity with Diddy? What is your familiarity with Bad Boy Records? And at least 190 or a lot of public figures were referenced, who potentially could be referenced during the trial in some way, shape, or fashion. I can't really say at this moment while I'm sitting here what exactly, how they'll be portrayed, but Diddy's the only one facing charges here. But the names that were
That'd
mentioned,
be interesting to
that
see what comes out.
Be a part of the record here. Kanye West. Okay, Kanye West, very controversial. Obviously, a huge producer.
Not Kanye.
During the 2000s.
No, not Kanye.
He was who he was. Kanye West kind of is who he is now, and has his own set of controversy. But he's one of the people who they mentioned. Kid Cudi. A lot of people may not be familiar with him. He's kind of one of those enlightened rappers. But was very popular, had a couple of really big songs at the one point. And Michael
How
B. Jordan.
can I be anti-Semitic when I'm
one of the biggest actors out there right now. His new movie
This guy's
Sinners
crazy,
is number 2 at the box office. Now, not saying at any way that he is affiliated with any criminal activity. However, when the jurors were asked to fill out those questionnaires, they were asked if they had familiarity with these individuals. And so Kanye West, Kid Cudi, Michael B. Jordan, those were some of the
Oh, Kid Cudi too. You're gonna be wearing them dresses.
highlighting the celebrities who prosecutors say could be in the orbit of the criminal enterprise.
Did he go to the party in a dress?
That was asked there. So Jen, again, just to set the stage here, we are looking at Pearl Street. This is Lower Manhattan. Jury selection concluded this morning, right around, earlier this morning, a couple hours or so ago. So once that happens, then the jury will be sworn in. And after the jury is sworn in, they may or might not take a break, or they might jump right into it, and there will be opening statements. Question: why are no cameras inside? As a member of the media and a reporter who's covered plenty of federal cases from Washington State to Florida to North Carolina and up here in New York City, I wish that they would change the rules.
I wish.
Federal courts all across the country, cameras are not allowed in. Really, electronic devices are not even really allowed in unless you're an attorney.
Twitch.
Of course, the attorneys
Good
can have
morning,
their phones
y'all.
and their computers, et cetera, et cetera. But the members of the media who go inside, they have to basically check your phone at the door. I've done that many times going into this specific courthouse and the one over in Brooklyn, where you're running up there to cover a case, and I've forgotten that you're not allowed to bring your phone in. So once you get to the door, they take the phone, they give you a little sort of key card, you put it in there, and you can get your phone back when it's time to go. But cameras are not allowed inside. So unfortunately, that's why you won't see any of the video from inside there. But you will get those sketches, those famed sketches, which if you've watched trials all along, you'll know that
Yeah, if you're wondering where the main chat is happening on the screen, that's YouTube. But it's mixing all the chats together, I think. I know it's mixing Facebook. Sorry, not Facebook. Yeah, I think Facebook. I know it's mixing YouTube and Twitch, possibly Facebook. That's the chat on the screen. So if you want to be a part of that chat, Facebook is frozen for you? I have to check out Facebook. What's going on Facebook?
So we will see the charges again: racketeering.
Facebook.
That's what they
might have been
put the
just
mob
you.
away on.
It's
Kidnapping,
smooth.
self-explanatory. Arson, bribery, and sex trafficking.
Damn, you got a whole list of things.
Sex trafficking, racketeering, kidnapping.
Man, Kanye West, he's been saying free Diddy. Free Diddy. Let's see if they got any new updates. The judge, it looks like maybe he's still giving instructions. During the trial, do not read or view or listen to anything about this case. Do not post anything. Once the U.S. rests, the defense can present, should he choose to. Now, the prosecution says, this is Sean Combs. To the public, he was a cultural icon, a businessman, larger than life. But there was another side to him. You will hear about 20 years of the defendant's crimes. He had a team to help him. Kidnapping, arson, drugs, sex crimes. The prosecution continues. Let's start with one night. He was on the hunt for his girlfriend, Cassie. He forced her to have sex with male escorts while he watched and recorded it. He found out Cassie was seeing another man. Furious, he set out to find Cassie and another man. He woke an employee to drive to the house. But no one was there. The defendant didn't give up. He kept looking for Cassie. When he found her, he beat her brutally, kicking her in the back and flinging her around like a rag doll. But it wasn't enough. He told Cassie he could release video of her having sex with male escorts. He broke into a man's house and he beat and blackmailed his girlfriend. These are not his only sex crimes, or these are not his only crimes. Cassie is not the only woman he beat and sexually exploited. 20 years of crimes. Okay, and that's where it paused. Waiting for the rest.
Entourages. They're going to say that, look, Diddy was a person a lot of people wanted to be around because of his stature, because of his money, because of his power. and that if you look at it through a criminal lens, of course you're going to see criminality there. Of course you're going to see the things that may seem like they're out of the ordinary for some people, and now you're going to argue that they're criminal. Part of the things, especially when it comes to these, so-called freakoffs, unclear exactly how much they're going to acknowledge that those happened. Unclear how much they're going to acknowledge what, for lack of a better way to put it, what Diddy was into. And so you certainly
Diddy was into a whole lot.
Probably acknowledge a little bit of that, but their argument almost surely will be,
oh, Gravity, okay.
You may not be into what Diddy was into. And, maybe some of those things are something that you find, questionable or you find reprehensible, but they're not criminal. And that's going to be certainly part of what they're going to look at there. They're going to say maybe there's a lack of physical evidence. For many of the charges, witness timelines don't add up. They're going to try to, when you start to get in the weeds about who said what when these text messages were written, when the lawsuits were filed, there's going to be a lot of information. And at the very least, maybe they try to confuse the jury a little bit. Public pressure, media frenzy. They're going to say that the prosecutors were sort of pressured to make something happen. And maybe they're going to say that Combs is a scapegoat here for kind of this broader reckoning around celebrity and misconduct. And the prosecution maybe try to criminalize the consensual adult relationships. Question for Dan. How can one follow what's happening in the case in real time if cameras are not allowed? A very intricate relay system. So often you might get media members who are inside who sort of come down to give the updates. Some of these things come out pretty quickly. Some of the things do happen from the pool. There may be a pool reporter who can put some of that information out. But certainly, as it won't take long. So in other words, you won't have to wait until the day is over before you start to get headlines. And so that's one of the things that we want.
So he said the last thing, Cassie is not the only woman he beat and sexually exploited for 20 years of crimes. He had a business, Bad Boy Records, that made him right. He relied on his bodyguards, chiefs of staff, who ran all aspects of his life. The group promoted his power. His bodyguards kidnapped an employee and set a car on fire, dangled the person. That car on fire, who's that again? Is that Fabulous or who was I forgot who the accuser of that. Dangled the person. What does that mean? It says dangled the person. Did he hang somebody off a ledge, off a balcony or something, off a roof? Dangled the person. They delivered drugs whenever he said, including to women he forced to have sex with escort. He transported them across state lines and even out of the country. Let me be very clear. This case is not about a celebrity's private sexual preferences. Toot, toot, hey, beep, beep. Okay, pause there. Oh, Kid Cudi. Ooh, maybe that's why Kid Cudi is going to testify. Ooh, that'd be really interesting. Kid Cudi's testimony. I think definitely we have to come and check opening statements, Cassie's testimony, Kid Cudi, and who knows who else. They're going to be surprise guests during the trial. I mean, I don't know if they're really surprised, but
you wonder that it certainly is a possibility. But you know that in just the way things are going to line up today, jury is sworn in, okay? Then you're going to get your opening statements, your opening arguments. When a prosecutor makes his opening argument, that they lay out the whole case. So that's not going to be a 15-minute process. They're going to take you through line by line what they have in their multiple page indictment. And they're going to cite examples, and they're going to say that this happened on this date, on this thing, and here's who you're going to hear from. So that itself could take 45 minutes, the opening statement itself. Then the defense is going to go. That's going to be another 45 minutes to an hour. So let's say, maybe they break for lunch after the prosecutor, so they get an hour for lunch. They come back. The defense gives his opening statement. They take another break. They call the first witness to the stand. then you could get it at that point. That certainly would be a possibility. But a lot of times they don't want to necessarily start down one road when it gets to 4:30, 5 o'clock when they're going to break. I don't know exactly what it is here. I actually recently served on a jury, and it was in Essex County, and that judge was tight. 4 o'clock came, and pretty much that was the end. They went a little bit over, but for the most part, once the day is done, the day is done. So if Cassie, who we are expecting will be the first witness, one of the first witnesses, if not the first witness, and she is at the heart of that video.
Oh, Cassie's the first witness?
That will certainly be a key piece of evidence.
Oh.
Will they introduce it today? I'm not sure. I think that certainly they'll introduce her, who she was, talk a little bit about, what the nature of the relationship was. And what the prosecutor is trying to do here is tell a story. And they're going to build this up slowly, but in as much detail as possible. So probably won't do the video as soon as she starts to testify and is on the stand. But certainly as a part of what she will be there for, will likely be to verify the authenticity of.
Okay, so it continues on saying here, this case is not about a celebrity's private sexual preferences. This was criminal. He coerced, and even used violence. Along of this trial will focus on two women, Cassie and Jane. We will show that the defendant used, lied, drugs, threats, and violence to force them to have sex with him in front of male escorts. He called them freakoffs, wild king nights, or hotel nights. His staff organized flights, cars, and hotels. At his direction, his staff set up the room with lubricant and lighting. Staff came in with cash to pay the escorts and drugs. He made them do or take MDMA or Molly and ecstasy. It made them sick, but also sexually aroused. He directed every step. He expected the woman to appear to enjoy themselves. He played with himself and recorded the events. Cassie was 19 with a hit song. Okay, we're waiting. Crazy. I mean, this is details that we've heard about, but I guess to hear it kind of laid out. And he would give people allegedly these drugs, I guess against their will, and hoping to put people in a state of arousement, and to make them susceptible maybe to their surroundings, more, kind of out of it. You're feeling really good, especially if you've never taken that stuff before. You become very vulnerable on X. That was probably one of my favorite things. That was fun, X. It takes a lot out of you, though. And the older you get, it drains you physically, mentally, your dopamine. The recovery takes so long now when you get older. It's just too much. But he was giving that to them, I guess, to get them in the state of they'll do whatever. But he's probably going to try to argue, well, they wanted to come have fun. They were there having fun. Cassie tried to work on her music, but the defendant made her turn down many opportunities. She recorded, but he had the final say over the music she released. There was never another album. He sit Cassie in the head. I don't know what he meant by that. He sit Cassie in the head, or I don't know, grab maybe? He sit Cassie in the head and dragged her by the hair. Damn.
At them. They're saying that he was charting flights for people, and he was making sure that there were drugs there, and he was making sure that there were cameras there, and that people were being held against their will. That's different than just, I threw a party and things got a little wacky. So prosecution has a pretty tall bar to reach here, just in terms of what they've laid out for the charges. So that's my way of talking around that answer for a little bit, but I think it sort of gives you a sense of where we are when it comes to that. Oh, how many charges are there in total? Well, I know that the alleged crimes are sex trafficking, racketeering, kidnapping, arson, and bribery. Does anything break out within those individual things? I think, under the guise of those five, I mean, those are the five things that we're talking about. Certainly the sex trafficking, the racketeering, and the kidnapping. Those are the most significant, if you want to say it that way. I mean, all of them are serious. And if he's convicted, faces the possibility of 15 years and the potential for life in prison. So when you talk about that, you know that it's high stakes, to say the least. I just want to set the scene again. If you're just tuning in, we are taking a live look here, the camera at Pearl Street. If you've been watching for the last 35 minutes or so that we've been talking, you can see the sun has shifted a little bit. So it's getting a little later in the day. We're approaching lunchtime. So the jury may be taking a break here in a little bit. They usually break for lunch. Pretty standard stuff when it comes to that, even though what will be discussed is anything but ordinary. Jury selection concluded earlier this morning, both sides exercising their maximum strikes allowed, meaning that each side can say, I don't want this person, I don't want that person, I don't want this person, I don't want, and then they finally get their 12 and their alternates. The reason they have those alternates, if for some reason, God forbid, something happens to one of those jurors as they get toward the end, you don't have to start the whole trial again. It doesn't end.
Who said, let's see that. I just care about the kids involved. Well, I wonder if it's even going to come up. It should. I would hope that it comes up. It made it seem like what we're listening to now, like the focus is going to be around these two ladies, but let me see. Okay, we got more information. So previously it said I don't know what he meant. He sat Cassie in the head or hit Cassie or dragged her. And then it says, and dragged her by the hair. He stomped on Cassie's face in an SUV and made her stay in a hotel for a week to hide her injuries. He set up freakoffs as often as once a week. She spent half of her time. The defendant made an escort urinate in her mouth. Oh my gosh. Lord almighty. Urinate in her mouth. As you will see in this trial, he beat her in the hallway of a hotel to drag her back into the freak-off. Initially, she wanted to make him happy, but then she didn't want to, but the defendant made her. The consequences were severe. He beat her when he thought she took too long in the bathroom. Defying him would end in violence. She fled, but he found her with the help of his inner circle. Cassie's career was in, I guess he meant to say, his hands. He told her he could destroy her career by releasing the video. Damn. Sounds like the opening started already. That's the opening, I guess. Prosecution. Wow. So he's saying that she was beat, dragged by the hair, stomped in the face in the SUV, made her stay in the hotel to hide her injuries, set up freak-offs once a week. He made an escort pee in her mouth. Wow. That's crazy. And now it says, when he said to have a freak off, she knew she had no choice. She called the escort and put on the performances he wanted. Her safety depended on keeping him happy. The relationship was complicated, but both were unfaithful. How was she unfaithful? If she was scared of him to death, if she was very scared, how was she unfaithful? Both were unfaithful, but only one of them had the power. How? If he has the power, how is she being unfaithful? If she's afraid for her life. Let me check some of the official updates here on the website and see what they're saying. Okay, so they did a little summary. Maybe I'll read the summary here. Prosecutor Emily Johnson began her opening statement by describing Combs as a larger-than-life figure who ran a criminal enterprise enabled by an inner circle of employees. One example Johnson gave was a night he was on the hunt for his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura after learning she had a new man in her life. Johnson alleged that Combs forced an employee into an SUV to take him to the new man's home. When he finally found her, he beat her brutally, kicking her in the back and flinging her around like a rag doll. He had to make sure he had control over Cassie once again, so he threatened her and said if she defies her again, he will release a video of her having sex with male escorts. Johnson told the jury souvenirs of the most humiliating nights of her life. Wow. That's how they talk about in Hollywood, like these people, like they'll try to get you in a compromising position. Or they'll make you do this, they'll make you do that for whatever. You know, you want that music, your album to take off, you want to meet these celebrities. They're going to make you do stuff, get in compromising positions. You know, you're going to have to mess around, get on your hands and knees, do all kinds of stuff, and we're going to record the whole thing. And make sure you stay in line. And once you start acting out, oh, forget about it.
Is unclear. You know that
Then they
with
got
the
you.
charges that Diddy is facing and the possibility of life in prison, that if there is a black book,
Oh,
and
the
they
black
do think
book.
it's going to help them, maybe it's a Hail Mary throw at the end if things aren't going well. But it's one of those things you gotta look for it. But their best defense is going to be how they can pick apart the prosecutor's case. Because it doesn't matter what happens in the media at this point. They can't try the case in the media at this point. They got to try the case in the courtroom, and the defense has to defend their case in the courtroom because that jury is there, and theoretically the jury is not reading what's out in the newspapers anymore. So they got to bring it in the courtroom. If there's a black book, they better introduce it in evidence, because otherwise it's just going to be a headline that may not make a difference on what's going to happen with his sentencing. Let's see. What was the last plea deal? Well, we know that in the week leading up to the start of jury selection, that Diddy was offered a plea deal. That is public information.
He didn't
and we know
take
that
it.
Diddy turned down the plea deal.
Ooh.
So what it was, we're not sure. You know, a lot of times, if let's take, for example, if it's a murder case, you know, maybe they offer you a plea deal, and instead of first-degree murder, you plead to, you know, a manslaughter charge. So instead of the possibility of life in prison, you get 20 years in prison, right? Something like that, right? So Diddy is facing extremely serious charges, the racketeering, kidnapping, arson, bribery, sex trafficking. So if those charges carry the possibility of 15 years to life, they offered him some kind of deal, whatever it was. His defense thinks that they could do better. So that's why they ended up actually in court, in trial, because there's going to be a lot that's going to come out in this case, whether Diddy likes it or not at this point. His attorneys are going to probably try to stop and slow things down and call objections at every corner when possible. But there's going to be a lot that's going to come out that he's not going to want to be made public. All the reasons, there's reasons why he signed those non-disclosure agreements. There's reasons why many civil suits over the course of 20 years, and I don't know how many there are, but I'm sure there were a couple. But there's reasons why those cases are settled, because they don't want this information to come out publicly. But now it's going to come out, and especially this first part, when the prosecution is going to lay out the heart of their case and really like a shock and awe kind of situation. You're going to get some headlines. So you can expect that by tonight.
Oh, yeah. So let me continue. We got a little few more updates. So it says, okay, we left off, but only one of them had power. They were both unfaithful. It continues. He made Cassie do his bidding in those dark hotel room. Cassie was not the only one. This was a pattern. Let me tell you about Jane. She was a single mom that started spending time with him in 2020. She fell in love with him. He was seeing other women. One night, he told Jane about the freakoffs and made it happen immediately. He took her to a hotel where an escort was on the way. He directed her step by step. Jane thought it was a one-time wild night. She was wrong. He continued offering a real relationship. Jane wanted the escort to wear condoms, but the defendant did not let them. Oh, man. Jane tried to make it through these nights without drugs. The first time she broke down and took ecstasy to finish. Another time she vomited, but he said, go do it again. Jane found two men and invited them to join the freakoffs so she could choose the man she'd be intimate with. The defendant discouraged her from working. He had the power to coerce her back into the hotel rooms. He threatened her with the videos. That's pretty nasty, man. So making her allegedly sleep with these people, these escorts, no protection. That's how Diddy likes it, allegedly. He doesn't like to, he just wants it raw with escorts. Not that Diddy's any better, because God knows how many people he slept with, but. And taking all these substances. Ugh, I can't imagine like what you must feel like the next day, waking up the next day, or sobering up, what sobering up is like. So he threatened her with videos. Not even a year ago, he went to her house. She was angry. She hit him. She became enraged. She tried to hide. She locked herself in her bedroom. He kicked it open. Then the bathroom, the closet, the guest bedroom. He kicked her to the ground. Okay, we're waiting for updates. Whoa. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Okay. All right. Diddy. What happened? Crazy. Oh. Okay. So then the bathroom, the closet, the guest bedroom, he kicked her to the ground. He did not let Jane be. He said, "You're not going to F up my night." He said, "Call up an escort and perform." Jane followed his instructions. His violence got him what he wanted. Cassie will tell you about the time the defendant forced himself on her. Mia and employees will tell you how the defendant forces himself on her, hand up her dress, penetrating her. Amidst the violence, he and his inner circle worked up to cover his crimes. The video at the LA hotel, you will hear just how far that went. Okay. Yeah. Let's see what else. Any updates here? The defendant offered a hotel security guard a wad of cash, a brown paper bag with $100,000 and $100 bills. The inner circle kept Cassie in hiding for days. For all of this, he is charged with multiple federal crimes, racketeering, conspiracy. And stop right there. Diddy! What happened, Diddy? Okay, just want to order this real quick. Okay, boom. Okay. Cassie and Jane will tell you the most painful experiences of their lives. You'll hear from some of the defendant's employees, including some personal assistant, Mia, who he essayed. She's grappling with it. You will hear from the employee he forced into an SUV with a gun, from a chef. They worked punishing hours, at times without sleep. They bought drugs for him. They were expected to keep quiet. Some of these witnesses have already received settlements. Damn. Diddy paying out, paying everybody. Diddy. Witness 3? I don't know. Witness number 3? I have to look into that. Yo, Jaguar was a witness? That would be crazy. Jaguar, right? Baby. Baby. Katy did. Let's get the stretch. Okay. Katy did. Katy did. So we're going to hear from everybody. The chef, the employees, the workers, the victims. You will also hear from some of the escorts. Oh, snap. But the defendant directed them and filmed it. An escort saw the defendant assault Cassie and drag her by the face during a freak-off. You'll see records from hotels and the damages and car services. You will see text messages in which the defendant tells staff to bring cash for escorts. And by Jane saying she did not want to do freak-offs. You will see videos. In them, you can hear the defendant provide direction to Cassie and Jane. High on ecstasy. High as a kite. I wonder what the defense is going to say during the prosecution. Are they going to crap on him? Are they going to crap on the victims? Yeah. Are they going to say they were there for clout? They were having fun. They were enjoying it. What are they going to say? If you guys in the chat could help me out with the like button, please, I'd appreciate it. Helps me out. No notifications. Helps me out in the algorithm, please. Thank you. Diddy. Mm-hmm. Johnson and Johnson will be there in support of Diddy. Diddy trial, free puff. B. Diddy. Let's see what else we got. You will see a video of the defendant brutally beating Cassie during a freak-off in an LA hotel. You will see photos of the damage, including to 4 doors in Jane's home, not even a year ago. You will see what he had in his home: guns, medicine bag of drugs, lubrication. You will see the agreement with the hotel guard, barring him from speaking after he paid $100,000 for the video. You will hear him manipulate Jane into saying she wanted it. His threats not to pay for her home, texts to his staff about it. Guns and lube. Damn. Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Let's see what they're saying here with the live updates. Government Combs directed wild, days-long freak-offs. Days long. Use lies, drugs, threats of violence. Gotta be high, be going days long. Jeez. I ask you to do 3 things. Pay attention to the evidence, follow the judge's instructions on the law, use your common sense, and you will reach the verdict that Sean Combs is guilty. The judge speaks and says, who for the defense? Tenny Garrigo says, I will. So the defense is starting already. I want to see if this guy tears him up or what. What's he got to say? What's he got to say? Kiss me. All that about the moonlight. Bling, bling. Oh, kiss me. I guess I'll take this $10. Put it in the bank. Show them what you think. I wonder what today is going to bring, guys. It's early. It's still early. What's this? Well, kind of. Yeah, it's still early. See what today brings. What kind of stories we'll get today. Breaking stories. Looks like Karen Reed. People are more interested in Karen Reed. Let's set up this thing here. Kind of want to set up, I don't know if I want to set up the fish tank camera and the outside camera for when it's raining and stormy and stuff. Have the multiple cameras set up. I might have to buy a new camera, though. One of the cameras, the Sony, does that flickering thing. I might have to get a different one so nobody wants to see the flickering. Obviously. Okay, so let's see the defense. Tenny Garagos. Okay. This case, pay attention, everybody, including myself. This case is about love and jealousy and money. They're trying to turn it into a racketeering case. It will not work. You are the jury. You will evaluate the witnesses, and the final story can come out. This case isn't about what you've heard on the news. Sean Combs is fascinating. He grew up in Harlem and built lawful business. He worked for it. He created a culture and produced music that changed a generation. Witnesses will share with you that he is fascinating, a fascinating person, and people are drawn to him. How dare you consider him anything else? No, you didn't say that part. All right, we're waiting. Combs. Da-da-da. This is the wrong thing. Yeah, let's see what else we got. That's it still. Okay, here we go. If you wanted to climb in music, apparel, or beverages, you wanted to be around Sean Combs. He gave people opportunities to work at his companies. He had a vision that few had. The witnesses mostly loved him. The text messages will show that he is a 55-year-old. He is going to be Sean Combs. Tenny Garagos, I'm honored to represent him. The only people in this courtroom who will tell you about racketeering are the prosecutors. There was no conspiracy. So he's saying these people that are saying you abused them and drugged them and make them drink pee and urine and feces. He says that most of the text messages are going to show that no, they loved him. Oh, they loved Sean Diddy. Let's see what else pops. I loved him. Will Allie Carter testify? Fame and money. What are you willing to do, man? People are willing to do anything to get some money these days. What are you willing to do to have your rent paid? To get a couple $1,000s? What are you willing to do for $100? What are you willing to do to get high? Alright, let's see what else. There it goes. There was no conspiracy. This is about Sean Combs' private sex life. The government has no business in that. These hard-working individuals were educated from Harvard to Howard University. He has a temper and he gets violent. And he's not proud of that. We own it. He sometimes gets so jealous or angry. He is out of control. You will hear that he lied to his girlfriends. You may think he is a jerk or mean. But he's not tried for that. He's tried for running a racketeering enterprise. This is domestic violence. Domestic violence is not sex trafficking. He had been charged with 8 domestic violence. Sorry, with. Yeah, but had it been. Okay, let me start that over. Domestic violence is not sex trafficking. Had he been charged with domestic violence, we would not be sitting here through an 8-week trial. He is not guilty of these crimes. As the trial goes on, we're going to take on accountability. We will not shy away. Accountability. We're not running. Oh, we're here. And we're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. Garagos. Perfect. Da, 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 da. Tenny Garagos, not prosecution. Sean Combs had a bit of a different sex life. The alleged victims We're all getting something from him. They are adults. They too must take on responsibility for their lives, as he does for his. A free choice has pros and cons. So he's trying to say it's just a sex life. It's a kink. It's his private sex life. It's a kink. And they're adults. They made their choices. Nobody forced them. Nobody held their hands down. That's what he's claiming. A free choice has pros and cons. My body, my choice. Wow. You will evaluate these women. They made free choices every day for years. Ask yourself, what are all the ways this individual had the ability to make these choices? Ask, what is this person getting? Something they want. Let me read that again. Ask yourself, what are all the ways this individual had the ability to make these choices? Ask, what is this person getting? Somebody replied back and said, how can you take on responsibility when you're being drugged and forced? Yorgos, you're gonna have to tear him up, man. You're gonna have to get your hands dirty. Muddy dirty. That's the only way you're gonna make it. You gotta get dirty. Here we go. Jealousy drove choices of the victims. Combs never married, but he is a many-woman man. He is always in multiple relationships. He was not always honest. It drove a primal jealousy. Sean Combs is extremely jealous. And you might think that's hypocritical. You know, the normal person, you know, you're cheating, you're fucking, you're doing all this stuff. But God forbid somebody does it to you. It's all hell. Hell breaks loose. And yeah, maybe that's a little hypocritical. Maybe just a little.
Why don't you eat your food? What's wrong with
I'm not hungry.
you? You're not hungry?
You even know
You're not hungry?
What did you order it for?
I lost my appetite.
Yo, I'm grateful.
You even know that Jeffy.
Look at that.
I can't even have a baby
Junkie.
with her, man. A junkie.
I got a fucking junkie for a wife. Don't eat nothing. Sleeps all day with them black shades on. Wakes up with a quaalude.
Abuelo.
And who won't fuck me because she's in a coma.
Oh, shit.
I can't even have a kid with her, man. Her womb is so
It's so
polluted.
polluted.
I can't even have a fucking little baby with her.
Bitch.
Is this what it's all about, man? That's what I think happens. This is one of my favorite movies. That's what I think happens to some of these people. I think they get so much in life. Some of these rich people, there's nothing else for them to acquire. There's no goals. There's no aspirations. Once you reach the top and you have so much money, you're just bored. You got to do drugs. You got to have sex. You got to do all kinds of weird shit to get some type of high. Something, you know, that you're alive. Just reach the top. There's nothing else to gain. You have everything you want. It's at the tip of your fingers. So back to the you might think it's hypocritical, they remained in a multi-year relationships with him. These women were in love with him. Infidelity and jealousy drove the violence. Alcohol and drugs drove things. But he is not a racketeer. This case is about his relationship with Cassie and Jane. Oh, shoot. You will hear about swinger parties. They will testify about things that should never be heard in federal courtroom that he liked to watch. You may not like that, but you are not here to judge him for his sexual preferences. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that comes out. It's going to be dirty, freaky, women, men. I can only imagine what Diddy's been doing. They say he's a freak. I can only imagine. After you've seen it all, done it all, you have all the money, you could just hire people out of a whim, throw them out like nothing. Been there, done that, looking for the next high. It's like, you know, people, when you're addicted to porn, just looking for the crazier thing. The next high has to get crazier and crazier. Donkeys, midgets. Can only imagine what Diddy was into. A wealthy rapper paid for these women's homes and vacations. He's not charged with being a flawed individual. These women fought to be in a relationship with him. Cassie, I expect you will hear from this week about her 11-year relationship. So he's saying that these women wanted to be with Diddy. They fought to be with him for multitude of years. He bought them homes, paid for their homes, bought their vacations, paid for everything. He goes on to say Combs with Kim Porter, the mother of his 4 children. He continued with her until her death from pneumonia in 2018. His fights with Cassie were about cheating. It was a toxic relationship. They loved each other. Crazy. Wait for the update here. Alright, let's see. Waiting for the update. Jojo, good morning. Layla, I don't have a problem. I tell the truth, even when I lie. Even when I lie, I tell the truth. Goes on to say, Cassie will tell you about the jealousy of Kim Porter, then Gina. The day of the hotel hallway, jealousy was on display. Violence by the elevator bank 10 years ago. You will see it later today. What Combs did is indefensible. Okay, so he's coming out with that. Indefensible. Let's see. Refresh. Okay. The video is not evidence of sex trafficking. Cassie walked out of the hotel room with 2 bags. Combs comes down wearing only a towel. He stomps her and drags her by her hoodie. He comes back around to get a phone. Damn. That's a bad look for Diddy. It's not good. It's not good. If you guys could help me out with the like button too, I'd appreciate that. Let's see if we can get to 1,000 people in here. That'd be nice. 1,000. We got 911 on YouTube. We can get to 1,000. No notifications. That'd be nice for the morning. The opening statements didn't take too long. It was pretty fast, I think. I mean, it took a while to start, but Did. Oh, thank you, Kelly. I can follow this account. Okay, I'll follow that account. Gotcha. Let's see. Is there any update? Okay. Infidelity and jealousy. So he's saying they were in a toxic relationship. It was mutual domestic violence and arguing, and they wanted each other. They loved each other. It was just a crazy toxic relationship. But this is not racketeering, not trafficking. The video is not evidence of trafficking. Cassie walked out of the hotel room with 2 bags. Combs comes down wearing only a towel. He stomps her and drags her by her hoodie. He comes around to get a phone. What causes a fight about a phone? Phones keep the secrets of infidelity. As soon as he gets the phone, he sits down. He's visibly disgusted. Cassie calls security. You will hear from him later today. The guard tells him to leave the public area. Okay. Drama. You know, yeah, Diddy's got to be, he's a wild one. Oh, yeah. It's a wild card. Jealousy. Filled with extreme jealousy and anger. While he's swinging and messing around with escorts and wanting his woman to mess around with escorts too. Wild cocaine conspiracy surround European leaders traveling in the Ukraine. We spoke about that. They're saying it was a napkin. Some are saying it was coke. I don't know, man. All right, let's check for some updates. Okay. You will see Cassie telling him to get back to the hotel room. They stay together 2 more years after this incident. Even into 2018, they're fighting to stay together. She saw a photo Let's see. Closed out on me. She saw a photo of Combs with Gina. He started with her in 2014. Uh-oh. Cassie had a choice every single day to stay with him. That was her better choice until she broke up with him. She was not coerced. When she left, there were no repercussions. She ran into the arms of a physical trainer Combs had hired to train her. Oh, hell no, man. Oh, hell no. What is that? Cassie had every choice. Had a choice every single day to stay with him. He, or that was her better choice until she broke up with him. She was not coerced. When she left, there were no repercussions. Instead, she ran into the hands of a physical trainer that Combs had hired to train her. Oh, shit. The only freak-offs you will see at this trial were on her phone, not his. Oh! In November 2018, Kim Porter passes away from pneumonia. Cassie did everything there to be for him. She flew to Georgia. Amidst the breakup, she flew to be with him. So she left some other dude, just like she left Diddy to be with the trainer. She had broken up with somebody else. Amidst the breakup. Oh, this is after. Let me see. So Kim Porter dies 2018. He fights with Cassie about cheating. You will see Cassie tell him to get back in the hotel room. They stay together for 2 more years after this incident. Even into 2018, they are fighting to stay together. She saw a photo of Combs with Gina. He started with her in 2014. So then in 2018, Kim passes away, and Cassie did everything she could to be there for him, to support him, to love him. She even flew all the way out to Georgia amidst the breakup with her and Diddy. Why are you flying out to see him and check on him and make sure everything was? What's up with that? Combs said Kim was my soulmate. The end of the relationship between Combs and Cassie was triggered by that. Ooh, Cassie didn't like that. Oh, she did not like that. Cassie realized all the things she would not be. Oh, you wanted to be Kim, but you could never be Kim. You could never meet up to her expectations. You could never walk in her shoes. You're just a side piece or another woman, just another number, just another escort with closer ties. She wanted to be Combs' wife, the love of his life. She spent 11 years trying to get that, and she couldn't. She wanted what Kim Porter had. And I guess what Puffy told her, that she's the soul of my life. That dug deep. She didn't like that at all. Maybe she had what they call that? That she had a Stockholm syndrome, something like that. Cassie, no way! Cassie married the trainer and is pregnant with their third. It says trial, but I guess he meant child. He's typing a lot, trying to type it fast. Cassie married the trainer.
Oh, hell no.
Damn. Evaluate Combs' intent at the time for those 11 years. The messages will show that she was a willing participant in their sex life. Cassie's testimony this week can't change that. Mm. Mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm. It's gonna get dirty because Diddy's fighting for his life. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. I don't know. Does Diddy have a chance? Let's see if we get another update on that. Okay, still waiting. He hasn't gotten into Jane yet either. Really, he's more Cassie. Let's see if he gets into Jane. Okay, here we go. In 2020 with Jane, Combs was more upfront. He told her he was dating other women. She was still jealous. Jane wanted it public. He proposed a consensual threesome. They went to a private hotel. I expect her to say she enjoyed it. Damn. Oh, damn. So Combs was, according to to the defense, was more upfront with Jane. Listen, man, I'm a swinger. I'm into women, into men, all kinds of stuff, drugging people, allegedly. I like to have fun and parties and no condoms and just swing it out. And so they had some type of encounter. She was still jealous. She didn't like it, but at the same time, I guess when you have money, they'll just accept whatever. They don't got a choice, I guess. Well, they do have a choice, but woman would be... I guess when you have money, you can get away with all kinds of shit. Jane was desperate to be with him, to give him things others couldn't. She tried to make it more than sexual. I'm not sure how she will put it, but it always came back to parties and hotel rooms. This was their time together. So all these women, allegedly, wanting to appease Diddy, wanting to be somewhat different than the other one. But in the end, almost all of them, 90%, were all the same to him. Except Kim Porter, that they could never reach and grasp. They wanted to be the next wife. The next queen. And for him, it was just another party. Party after party after party. He says Jane was desperate. Oh. Wow. Jane did it for the cuddle. She wanted to make for the cuddle. That's kind of weird. Jane did it for the cuddle. She wanted to make him happy. She was unable to resist him emotionally. There was a phone call in November 2023. Even after it, she flew out to see him many more times. It was toxic, but she was willing. So he said Jane did it for the cuddle. She wanted to make him happy. She wasn't able to resist him emotionally. There was a phone call in November 2023. Even after it, she flew out to see him many more times. So he's claiming that it was consensual. It was toxic, but consensual. There was no forcing. And that they were desperate to be with him. They wanted him so bad. They would do anything to be around Diddy, to be in his presence, to be his woman, to be in his circle. Anything. Being a willing participant in your sex life is not trafficking. If she'd walked away, she would have lost him. You will see her jealousy. She would see him on social media with another woman, and she would send messages of regret. It's not coerced. Ooh. Again, being a willing participant in your sex life is not trafficking. Oh, man. Ooh. If she just walked away, she would have lost him. You will see her jealousy. She would see him on social media with another woman, and she sent messages of regret. It's not coerced. So that's going to be really interesting, man, in the trial. That's going to be so interesting. If they're going to show all these, I mean, okay, they're probably going to have that video. They're going to show him getting crazy messages, jealousy, maybe these escorts and all that stuff too. But was it trafficking? Was it willing? Was it really coerced? Was it forced? Or were they willing participants? And even when they had so many opportunities over the years to leave, they could have left at any moment. They stayed. In fact, they chased him. They wanted him desperately, flying out to him. Please, Diddy, please, Diddy. That's what they're saying. Let's see what else we get the next update. She was driven to try to be in first place. This was the way to try to get there. That is not a crime. There was a night a year ago where Jane hit Combs. Uh-oh. It was born out of jealousy, and he hit her back. She was overcome with jealousy. She slammed his head. Yo. What kind of chicks are these? Well, I want to see what this chick looks like. Is she bulk and stuff? She got arms and stuff? She was driven to be in first place. That's what it was. It seems like a competition. I wanted, because he had a lot of women around him and he's sleeping with all these people. They have nothing they can offer him of value, at least to him, right? Like he has everything he could ever want. There's nothing for her to contribute. The only thing that there is, the only thing, maybe there's some type of emotional something that she could contribute or take care of the place, but the only real thing that was of value was sex. That's it. That's all there was. And so she was driven to try to be in first place. This was the way to try to get there. That is not a crime. There was a night a year ago when Jane hit Combs. Just, it was born out of jealousy, and then he hit her back. Because he has such an ego. He has such a... She probably didn't even hurt him, but he has such a... How dare you touch the king? How dare you defy? And so he hit her back. And she was overcome with jealousy, and so she takes him and slams his head. Bah! What was his... I wonder what his reaction to that was. She slammed his head onto the kitchen counter. You couldn't do that shit to me. I would jerk back or something. Months later, she flew to see him and invited an escort. Oh, she invited an escort? Months later, she flew to see him and invited an escort. She will call it one of her best nights. A wild king night. Whatever you want to call it. This will be hard to watch. Oh, man. They are, in one word, intimate. The government told you about someone named Mia. Why are they making these allegations now? You will conclude that everyone has a motive. With Mia, she has never said it before, nor when she first started cooperating with the government. Damn, yo, this is crazy. Yo, the details of this case, it's wow. Mamma mia. What kind of fight toxicity is this? She slammed his head onto the counter. How do you even do that? He just let it go? It's like wrestling. Maybe they like this shit. Maybe this is what made things exciting for them. What got their blood flowing. Beat the shit out of each other, slam each other, put somebody's head in the counter. And then she calls him later on, months later, flies to see him, and she's the one that invites an escort? And I guess they have evidence, maybe text messages. That was the best night of my life. Wow. If this was so hostile, why did they not call the police? Oh, shit. They are vindictive. Their motive is simple. Money. Cassie filed a public lawsuit in November 2023. She was living in her parents' modest home in Connecticut. She went to a civil lawyer. Oof, you're getting dirty, nasty. That's the only way, because Combs is literally fighting for his life. Literally, I forgot how old he is. He's 50 something. Fighting for his life. He may not necessarily die in prison, but he's going to lose a lot of years. Every year is precious, especially in your older ages. You know, the older you get. Oof. Dirty, man. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Crazy, man. Crazy.
New Constitution, new flag.
Oh, shit.
The White House shall be painted black. And we are not waiting for no election day.
Sexual preferences. They said that it is not the jury's right.
We're not waiting for no election day. We are already 90% of the population.
What you talking about?
The video that we've all seen of Diddy assaulting.
We know our vote don't count.
Hallway. They admitted that was domestic.
Ooh. Wild over there. All right, it continues. The civil lawyer is here today. Uh-oh. They went to civil lawyers to make a money grab. Cassie demanded $30 million. And then you know what? She asked for another $22 million. How many millions of reasons do these witnesses have to lie? The evidence will not make out the charges. Damn, bro. On bribery, this is about Intercontinental Hotel. He paid a security guard to make the footage go away. This was solely to prevent bad publicity for Combs and for Cassie. There was no law enforcement investigation. Oh. Damn, I think he's doing really good on the not the cross, but the opening statements. Is Diddy gonna get out of this? Yeah, he's calling her a gold digger. going hard, man. He's going hard. I'm gonna have to clip this for later. Wow. All right, let's see. Okay. The kidnapping related to an employee. She worked for him for 10 years. She asked to work for him again. Drug trafficking? It was personal use. They worked hard. They were there to do something great and novel. It was a free choice. Boom! So he's just slamming him. This kidnapping bullshit, she worked for him for 10 years. And she asked to work for him again. Okay, I don't understand how that... Okay. The gun kidnapping thing. Drug trafficking? Shit, we were just getting high, man. We weren't selling that shit. We were just getting high together. They worked hard. They said work hard, play hard, right? Or work hard, play even harder, or something like that. Shit, they got coke in the White House. You got these people yesterday, the Ukrainian people, the France president, everybody getting high, everybody on coke. It was just a choice. Not no drug trafficking. No drug enterprise. It was a free choice. I didn't charge them. You know, I wasn't selling. And then he said there was no conspiracy. He was paying different men. Oh shit. Toot toot. Hey, beep beep. He was paying different men for their time and experience. Porn actors get paid. Hulkamania. Cowboys for angels. You can pay money for time and experience. That is what Sean was doing. What's wrong with that? You know what I'm saying? Porn actors get paid, so what? You know what I'm saying? OnlyFans bitches making money. So they're throwing it out there. That's what he said. Half of y'all in this courtroom got an OnlyFans account that you're paying for. No, imagine he said that shit. You are not here to impose your morality on this man. If you listen, you will find him not guilty of these crimes. Thank you. Okay, I think that was the end of that. The opening statements. Wow. Wow. Okay, they're taking a break for lunch. Oh, they're taking an early lunch. Oh, I guess it's 12 already. Oh, okay. They're taking lunch. Yo, that was interesting, man. I have to say that was interesting. Okay. Maybe we'll come back then later. I don't know. We'll see. I think they take a break for an hour, so we can get off for an hour. It depends. If Cassie's testifying, if she's the first witness, I'll probably just come back. If there's nothing happening, I'll come back and do Cassie. But that was really kind of interesting, yo. The whole thing. I mean, I've heard the one side the whole time, the whole, the trafficking, the drugs, all that stuff. But now to hear a little bit of the other side, that this was some supposedly crazy, toxic relationship, and that they kept coming back, and why didn't they file a police report, and they kept flying out to him, and even after the fact, and supposedly, I'm sure they're gonna have to show all that in court. Wow. Diddy do it? That's true. The OnlyFans people do travel for content, yeah. Live life, thank you. I had fun reading it. It was interesting. Let me fix this. Oh yeah, I think I'll get off for now and I'll come back. I'm so like hyped up and amped from that shit though. Yo, can I play the latest Kanye song in the background? You crazy. Apparently they started taking down the song. You can't even find it. You can't even play the shit. Like, they'll cancel you. Banned everywhere, man. The song's in the underground. You have to look for it on Twitter, I guess. All right, but yeah, I'll catch you guys, man. If you want to subscribe to the mailing list so you can know when I come back later, if I don't have notifications, just go to akmail.com. Everything's there. If you're looking for one of my social medias or email contact, or you want to get every time I go live, want to get that email, you just go to akmail.com and there's the subscribe, the email list at the bottom. Interesting, but I'm gonna get off for a little bit, take a little break. I think their lunch is about an hour. Supposedly, I don't know if Cassie's really going to be the first to testify. If she testifies first, I'll jump on. I mean, I have to go pick up my daughter in a while, too, so we'll see how the timing works. But I will jump on if Cassie comes. Like that, I think that might be interesting. And then we'll see whatever else happens today. Whatever else, breaking news. There's another story I want to check on for updates, too. So, yeah. All right, guys. Peace. I'll catch you later. Catch you in a little bit. See you in 10 minutes. Bye. You want to go to a Diddy party if he's found not guilty?